All right, folks, welcome back into another Mancast. This is episode 30. I can't believe we are at 30 episodes now. Absolutely. Still coming back at you. So we're going to keep doing this thing. Um, this time we're going to continue with the NFL. This is week 3. We're going to talk about our reactions. There are games going on as we speak. This is Monday night. I am, if you haven't noticed on the background, I am obviously in a different location than normally. I am in the Lake of the Ozarks. The lake is behind me. It's absolutely beautiful in the daytime and even at the sunset, but we get started a little later than that. So here we are, but I'm going to do this thing. This has been a wild week. There has been where I thought teams would either get right, they did not, or where I thought teams would fail, they got right. And I have no idea how the Arizona Cardinals happened to get right, and how at the same time, the same week, the Dallas Cowboys happened to get wrong, which we all kind of thought. I think Ed especially did. What do you say, bro?
The reason that the Arizona Cardinals got right is because they were playing the Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas got wrong.
And this is something that we have talked about over and over again. And I know this burns the asses of every Dallas fan because they know it's true, but they think they can't bring themselves to admit it. Is that this organization, the way the whole organization is run, the way that players are favored inside of that system, the way that certain players are overplayed, the chemistry just always seems to be off with this team. Tony Romo was I'm not going to say he wasn't one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but he had the ability to take that team to a Super Bowl and had the teams that he could have taken to the Super Bowl multiple times, and they couldn't even win a playoff game. And the reason was because he was just so nonchalant. I will never, ever, ever forget when he took the snap for a chip shot field goal to beat Seattle and go to the NFC Championship game. This is back in the early 2000s. He misplaced the ball. It was a good snap. He misplaced the ball. Shank, they lose the game. And in the post-game interview, he's like, hey, everybody, just relax, man. It's just a football game. No, dude, you get paid. You got a $68 million contract at that point. It's not just a football game. It's a business, bro. And that whole lackadaisical thing that they do, there's no killer instinct in the Dallas Cowboys, and there hasn't been one since the early 1990s. That's just fact. And Dak Prescott is Tony Romo 2.0. And they are coddled by their owner who goes out of his way to make them the highest paid players. He fucking jerks them off whenever they want it. And they are just better than average NFL quarterbacks. And because they get this treatment that tells them that they are a top 5 quarterback, they just chill and lay back. And there's no urgency for them to win. And we just saw it again yesterday. No one can make the argument after the first 2 weeks that Dallas didn't look like a team who I warned you last week was not that team. And then they play the worst team by every metric except for maybe the Chicago Bears. And they just lose, man. They got smoked by double digits.
Clowned.
Period.
Absolutely.
The Dallas Cowboys and all their stinking fucking fans should shut up until Dallas actually does something, because they haven't done shit in over 30 years. And that's all I got to say on that.
Yeah. So neither one of us are going to feel bad about dancing on the grave of Dallas.
It actually makes my day. Like,
I'm going to tap dance. I'm
both
going to
of the
dance
teams that I follow lost. And because Dallas got smoked by the Cardinals, it changed my whole disposition.
You and I will, while we're anti-line dancing, you and I would learn a line dance, just a line dance on their grave.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to have another dance in the repertoire.
I'd learn the achy breaky heart, bro.
from Billy Ray Cyrus himself.
I'd even grow a mullet.
My guy. Oh, yeah. All right. So let's get this one out of the way. The Dolphins.
Yeah, that was a nail biter, bro. I mean, I was just hanging on the edge of my seat. Um,
Bro.
there's some takeaways to be made here. First off, the Finns are every bit as good as offensively as we were saying they could be, as long as they can
Health.
keep
Hmm.
Tua healthy.
Yep.
And so far,
Yep.
so good. This team
Yep.
is really, really, really dangerous. I have some stats here that you're going to find very interesting. I wrote these down, so I'm going to flip the page here. But this is really interesting. Miami 762 yards. That's what they put up yesterday. 762 yards is the second most in the history of the NFL, only and only by a handful of yards, like 6 yards. The
Nuts.
1951 Rams put up more. That's it.
Nuts.
One team,
Crazy.
and it was over 60 years ago, almost
It's
70
not
years
right.
ago,
Insane, bro.
right? And so, or actually 70 plus years ago. Um, so, and here's another interesting fact. So they had more yards in yesterday's game than the Jets or the Titans have in total offensive yards for the year, which is
Oh,
hilarious.
hey Ed,
Yep, I can hear him.
do you, do you mind if we get a cameo real quick?
Yeah, put him up, man.
All right, buddy. Appearance from
Hey,
Side
Cy, what's
Guy
up, buddy?
in his PJs,
Are you having fun?
having a
What?
nice time at the lake, dude.
Do you like the lake? Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a lot of
cool.
fun. What'd you do today?
I went to the arcade.
Yeah, arcade.
Nice. That's always
What
fun.
What'd you do yesterday?
Go to Molten Monkey.
Malted Monkey, and what'd you do there?
I climbed.
You climbed the high ropes course. Yeah, that
Very
was
cool.
crazy. And then you got a milkshake. All right, what do you think about the NFL Week 3?
Good.
Who is your favorite team, and did they win or not?
Chief.
Did they win?
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely. High five, my man. All right, bud. You want to let me finish?
I want to be out here with you.
Okay, you can hang out. Go ahead.
Can I go get my tablet real quick?
Yeah, but you can't be on camera with tablet. Just you can hang out here though. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
Another outstanding football fan in the making.
A Chiefs fan in the making for sure.
So I just thought that was interesting about the Finns. And by the
Yeah.
way, they had an opportunity, and I think this says a lot about Salih, their head coach, who is very impressive.
Yeah.
They could have. So the all-time record for points in an NFL football game is 73 by one team.
Yep. Yep.
And that was back
Is that
in
Washington?
1940, Washington, Chicago,
Yep.
NFL championship game. And they had the opportunity yesterday to kick a field goal and to break the record. And instead, Sally put on the brakes. And I thought that was a class move. There is no reason to just set the record just to set the record and to humiliate a team even more than you were already humiliating them. And I thought he made the right choice. I think he's a classy guy. And um, I think that says something about the integrity of that entire ball club. And I think that Miami is very legitimate. And I think that the Chiefs and the Bills, who I think are the forerunners for the AFC, are probably paying very close attention at this point
Right.
because they're that.
Yeah, you're not wrong, man. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna go with the other juggernaut. Well, actually, let's talk about the Jaguars, bro. What happened?
Disappointing, massively disappointing. The Ravens lost to the Colts. The Jags lost. Um, the Jags lost to the Texans and by 20 points.
I'm also teeing up for you to gloat that your boy CJ looks fucking dynamite, dude.
Well, he is now 3 games in. He has
Broke the record.
an almost 100 Q rating. He has turned the ball over 0 times, and he has absolutely no help whatsoever on the offensive side. Everything is on him. He's completing 65% of his passes, right? He's not turning the ball over, and he is spreading that ball all over the field. Stroud's going to end up being NFL Rookie of the Year. He's
Rookie
playing
of the
out of his
year.
mind.
Yeah.
I just read an interesting thing about him when I was doing a little research for our podcast here, and see if I can find it quickly. But he has thrown for the third most yards in NFL history for first three games, starting with the first game. His first three games as an NFL starter, third most in the history of the NFL, and
Yeah.
he's the first player in NFL history, their first three starts at NFL quarterback, to have zero turnovers.
That's it. 0 turnovers, 0 interceptions, dude. That's amazing.
It is amazing.
That's when, for me, I'm like, okay, yep. I'm looking. I'm listening. Yeah. I thought he had promise. I thought he was going to be good, but I didn't know he was going to be this good. So, sorry. Hold on, buddy. Buddy, I'm doing a podcast. Can you go sit somewhere else?
Not over there.
And I can't hear this, so can you go inside? Yeah, go on inside.
I want to do the podcast with you.
It's only two of us, so.
Well, why don't you tell him if he goes inside, we'll be done in 45 minutes, and then he can come out and hang out with us while we go through the rest of it.
Yeah, if you go inside for 45 minutes, Uncle Ed had a good point. If you go inside and watch the show for a little bit, when we're done, I'll come and get you, and then we'll do all videos of us together. Okay? You can come on with us.
You can hang out for a couple hours, and we'll have fun.
Let us finish what we need to do, and then I'll come and get you, and you can get on the video.
But
Okay?
I don't want
Go ahead. Head on in there with Mama.
to.
Okay, you can do it. So, all right. I'll be right back, Uncle Ed. We're still rolling. Hey, I've seen a lot of videos like this. Hold on.
No problem. That's why he's gone.
No.
I will talk. And you can hear him. He's beating his child. So here are some little things that maybe everybody would be interested in. The Browns defense has surrendered only 491 yards in the first three games of this season. And that is the lowest amount of yards from the start of the season in 24 years. And was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1999, who were at 487. So it's a 4-yard difference, which is pretty interesting. And I'll wait for Chad for the next one. Here's another interesting one. These are little things that I like to talk about when I give the opportunity. I'm in the middle. So Justin Herbert.
Hold on.
Justin Herbert completed 40 of 47, or 85.1%.
All right.
Are you going to edit any of that out?
Probably.
Okay, that's good. Because I'll re-talk about these points that I had. So I mean, you can just edit out the last few minutes. No big deal.
Or you can just keep going because, again, I've seen so many of these videos where thousands of people are watching people whose kids interrupt the show.
Oh, nobody cares.
Right.
I mean, literally,
they get it.
Yeah. Right. So we'll keep going. So the Jags are disappointing to me because their offense just simply isn't working for whatever reason. It's not that they don't have the talent or the quarterback or the head coach or a good offensive coordinator. Just things are off, and they better get their asses straightened out really soon before things get out of control. And it's concerning because the Texans aren't a very good football team, but they didn't like the Texans didn't surprise them and come up with some 31-27 kind of weird win. They won by 20 points. And that's got to be very concerning for a team that the Jags should have easily beaten. They're a much better football team.
Yep.
And so that's concerning for them. But there are some other teams here too. The Dallas Cowboys. I mean, what a joke that is. And the Ravens, of course. Look, I think the Colts are doing a really good job. That whole coaching staff is coaching this team up in ways that I couldn't have predicted. I just didn't see that they could even be remotely competitive. They've been extremely. They're 2-1 now, right? They're not kidding around here, and they're doing it with Garner Minshew. It's very impressive what they're doing. And Jonathan Taylor isn't taking the field, and they're still playing good football. So my hat's off to them. But the Ravens,
you're not signing up for Minshew mania.
but here's the thing I will say: the Ravens' offense is so ridiculously vanilla, plain, and obvious what's going to happen. Lamar Jackson threw for over 200 yards and rushed for over 100 yards. But when everybody knows that's your guy and everything's going to go through him, they're now keying down on him. Even if he puts up 300 yards, he's still losing football games. They have to do something better. They need an offense that at least checks the defense down, makes them worry about what's going to happen, keeps people in the box. It's not working. Nothing on the offensive side right now is working other than Lamar Jackson, and teams are willing to give up gobs of yardage to just that one player if they control the ball and win in the end. And they better figure something out fast, or the Ravens are going to lose more football games than they're going to win if they think that Lamar Jackson's going to be able to score every touchdown to win every game.
Yeah, but I feel like we glossed over what's going on with Trevor Lawrence. Like, what's the problem with Trevor Lawrence, man?
I don't know what's going on with it. It's not just Trevor Lawrence. Their entire offense is not working. And I think it starts with the offensive line. I was not happy with the pick they took in the draft because they needed offensive line help. And he's running around too much. He's running for his life back there. He's getting way too much pressure and way too many sacks. He can't just, I don't care how good a quarterback you are. If you drop back to throw the ball 40 times in a game and you're under pressure, out of those 40 times, 30 plus times, then your offense is probably not going to work very well. And that's exactly what's been happening all year. They need to lock that offensive line down, and they need to get the ball into the hands of their playmakers, which they can't do because their quarterback is running for his life. I don't know what's going on and why. And even when there is protection, the offense just doesn't seem to be on the same page. I don't know exactly what's happening in there. I watch their games. It's baffling to me why everything seems to be so out of sync.
Yeah, I wish I could get inside Doug Peterson's head and figure out what the hell he's thinking, because he has to be. Is he freaking out, or is he like, I know exactly what the problem is? You know what I mean?
We're 3 games in. Last year, and the year before. So this is the Jags 3 years, but 2 now with Peterson. They started super slow at the midway point last year. We'll just call that, because I know it's 17 games. We'll call it 8 games. They were 2-6, 2-6, and they went to the playoffs and won their division.
Right.
But they better get their heads out of their asses pretty soon. This team, look, I get losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's fine by any metric. They're the best team in the NFL. So I get it, and that's fine with me. You lose to them, that's cool. But the other, losing to the Texans is no. It's like Dallas losing to the Cardinals. No. If you're a legitimate playoff team, you do not lose a game to a bottom 5 team in the NFL. That can't happen.
Right.
It can't. Because beating the good teams is always a 50-50 proposition. You have to grab wins when you can. And it's a division loss, which makes it all the worse. So they better figure something out, and they better do it fast. They play the Falcons, I think, next week. And we'll go through that here in a little bit. But the Falcons are playing good football, and they could get bit again. And they'll be so far behind the 8 ball, it'll be stupid. So they better figure it out, because the Colts, who should only be winning 5 or 6 games this year, currently are leading that division.
True. So then let's go to the Colts. So they won that game, but so let's stick with that. Then you had mentioned the Falcons. Not this week.
No. The Falcons are playing over their heads a little bit. They're competitive. Yeah. They're fun to watch. They could not get that. So everything broke down for them, because Riddle, he's not a top-notch NFL quarterback. He's a bottom dweller. Nothing against him. Great athlete. They're all great athletes. I'm not just not everybody can be a top NFL quarterback. He's certainly not. But they could not get Bijan Robinson going. They had a great defensive scheme to knock him down, and it worked. He only got like a little less than 2 yards a carry. It was an ugly day for him. And because he couldn't get anything going, necessarily made it that their passing game wasn't going to work at all. And so they just went down in flames because of that. But I never expected the Falcons to be a good football team this year. Nobody expects them to be a playoff team. So they're going to have these kind of up and down games. It is what it is.
Right. Well,
The Saints and the
next?
Packers. Jordan Love, no. Still no. No, no, no. The reason that the Saints lost a game that they had in hand is very simple. Derek Carr went down. He didn't play hardly at all in the second half. Winston is not very good because he makes such bad decisions. There's so many interceptions, turns the ball over. That's what happened. And if Carr's going to be out for any extended period of time because of that AC joint, and that could be 4 weeks, maybe longer, the Saints are in a lot of trouble if Derek Carr's not going to be playing. Because if Derek Carr wouldn't have got hurt in that game, they would have won that game going away. It had everything to do with Derek Carr being hurt and absolutely nothing at all to do with anything that the Green Bay Packers did. They needed the starting quarterback of the other team to get hurt so that they could even be in the game. And it was an 18-17 Boarfest affair.
It wasn't good.
But again, if you look at Love's numbers, barely completed 50. He completed exactly 50% of his passes. That's nothing to write home about in the NFL. If you're not hitting over 60%, come on, man.
I agree.
Look what Herbert did in the Chargers. We can jump right to that. We can go to the Chargers game. Herbert just yesterday set an NFL record for
highest like himself.
Completion percentage with 45 or more attempts in a football game.
He looked like himself again.
85.1%.
Yeah, he's looked like shit for a little bit. Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say the Chargers have been losing close games.
In spite of the fact that Herbert's been playing good football.
Herbert's a dog, dude.
But
yeah, what are you gonna
San Diego, which always happens to them, Mike Williams tore his ACL and he's done for the year.
Yeah, there's that.
Happens to them every year. Whether it was, go back to Phillip Rivers. It was either LaDainian Tomlinson got his knee blown out, and that was the end of him, or Antonio Gates got injured and he would miss half a season. It would destroy shit for them. Now they got Keenan Allen and they got Mike Williams working, who used to be a great wide receiver for Tampa Bay. They got a great 1-2 punch, and bam, now he's gone for the year.
Can we
always happens to them?
I know we've already talked about the dog walk that the Dolphins did to the Broncos, but
that was a beat down, bro.
What are the Broncos gonna do, dude? Like, are they?
Well, Sean Payton's not going to go anywhere.
No.
The truth of the matter is the Broncos are a worse football team than anybody wanted to admit they were to begin with.
They gave picks up for Russell Wilson, and they gave picks up for Sean Payton.
Yes.
They're in draft hell.
Draft hell.
Yeah.
The difference to me is that Sean Payton is a legitimate NFL quarterback and won a Super Bowl with the Saints. So I think that Russell Wilson is just not that good. And I think the proof of the matter is all you have to do to see is that Seattle, after the trade, did not miss a single beat. Because Geno Smith stepped in and plays every bit as good as Russell Wilson ever played there, because that system is perfect for those types of players. It reminds me of when Donovan McNabb left Philadelphia, and everybody's like, what's Andy Reid doing? Improving his football team by getting rid of the starting quarterback.
You made this point a while back, man. You were like, I think that Russell Wilson's success had a lot to do with Pete Carroll.
Oh, absolutely. It's all Pete Carroll.
And
his system's brilliant.
And my dad has always felt that way about Russell Wilson, so I'll give him that. I think that Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll were a dynamic duo until Russell Wilson lost a step and he wasn't quite as fast. And then all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. And Sean Payton's his take on it still isn't good enough because Russell Wilson can't do it.
No, he can't.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I think Sean Payton is a legitimate NFL coach. He
Mm-hmm.
will get some things figured out, but his hands are
Yep.
going to be tied. How they're going to improve that team, and the only way they're going to be able to improve that team is through free agency or great drafting from the second round on, because they have no first round draft picks for a while.
Nope. Yep.
And fortunately for them, they're not in cap hell. So that'll be a little bit beneficial. It'll be interesting to see what kind of moves that they make before the trade deadline this year. If they're serious about trying to improve that team immediately, something has to be done. Something. So
Right.
it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But that's just the position they find themselves in. And I just don't think and never thought that Russell Wilson was as good a quarterback as anybody said. It was like saying that because Doug
Yeah.
Williams went to the Washington Redskins, went 14-2 and won a Super Bowl, makes him a great quarterback. No, it makes Joe Gibbs' offensive system the best system in the NFL at that particular time because he won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks in a 9-year period of time. That's
Right.
how good his system was. We're going
It's
to
fair.
find out. Now, I think a lot of Broncos fans were hoping that that was the case of Sean Payton could coach Russell Wilson in the same kind of success that Sean Payton, gave to Drew Brees. And that's what I think that they were all hoping for. But that ship has sailed. It's over. And I think that they're going to have to cut bait with Russell Wilson at the end of this season and try to salvage whatever they can out of it.
Yeah, I think Russ is gone. There's no other way.
Or sell it off now. Trade deadline. Send them to the Jets, who are so desperate for anybody to play quarterback. They may play ball and throw you a couple first round picks, or at least
Yeah,
one.
I don't see it.
Because Zach Wilson, as long as we're on the Jets, is without a doubt the worst starting NFL quarterback I have seen in a very, very long time. He's bad, really bad.
Yeah, definitely bad enough that in all of the, doldrums that the Patriots find themselves in, Bill Belichick can still go, yeah, we can beat you. We can beat the Jets and Zach,
The
So
Jets are Bill Belichick's bitch. They haven't even beat the Patriots in like 7 years or something.
so then Bill Belichick's like, well, yeah, I've lost 2 games. Finally I can get one here. So honestly, that was 15-10. That was a blag game. Let's move on. I would like to talk about
How about the Browns and the Titans? Because I like to talk about the
The
Browns.
Browns game. Yep, that was going to be my next one.
So Deshaun Watson played a
Finally
great
showed up.
game.
Finally
Great
showed
game.
up. Yeah.
They put up a lot of yardage and they were dominant. But the thing that is most compelling to me about the Browns is they may have the best defense in the AFC,
It's
maybe in
incredible.
the NFL. They are unbelievable. They held a professional football team to under 100 yards of total offense yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad you are.
Yeah.
And this, first off, nobody thinks that the Tennessee Titans are one of the bottom 5 or bottom 10 teams in the NFL. They were held to under 100 yards. So, quick
Yep.
fact about the Browns. First off, Myles Garrett is
Monster.
3.5 sacks in one game. Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Unbelievable performance by him.
Yep.
The Browns defense surrendered only 491 yards in the first 3 games this year. That is the lowest amount in 24 years. Got to go back to somebody who did lower and only by a handful of yards, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1999. How sick is that? The Browns are becoming extremely legitimate. And if Deshaun Watson, if the way he played yesterday is indicative that the Deshaun Watson that we watched with the Texans is getting back into a good headspace, the Browns are an extremely dangerous football team.
Well, we'll see. I think they have the capacity for sure. I mean, they have, like you said, legit defense, incredible. Probably top, if not first, top 3 defense. And then, Deshaun Watson should surely figure out how to be who he
And they got so
was.
many playmakers on
Just like,
offense, even with Chubb hurt.
Well, they just brought Kareem back. I mean, yeah. So do you want to move on to the Bills and Commanders? The Bills are the Bills. The Bills are right back to being the Bills again.
Yeah, they looked absolutely fantastic yesterday. Their defense was frightening.
Yeah.
Um, Sam Howell got sacked 927
Nine,
times yesterday.
9 times.
927 times. It's
Besides the
unbelievable.
127,
And
nine.
he only threw 4 interceptions and then fumbled 2 more times. So he dropped back to pass 40 some times and was harassed 40 some times. It
This
was
is so bad.
does he have an offensive line? I'm not even sure. It was pretty
Paper
brutal.
Tigers. They
Under
were
normal
little.
circumstances, a team getting their ass kicked by 4 touchdowns is newsworthy, but when another team gets their ass kicked by 50 points, not as newsworthy. So the Commanders first need to change their name because I hate that name with a passion. Um, the Washington football team has no offensive line. I think that they're, and I never suggested they were making the playoffs this year to begin with, but if they think that Sam Howell can be the guy, they have to let him have games like this and they got to stick with him.
For
They just
sure.
have to. Because if you give up on him now, you'll shake his confidence in his own skills. He's young. This is rookie season, except for one game last year. So you got to let him get beat up and you got to let him take these things. I will say, out of those 9 sacks, he's responsible for half of them because he's making his reads too slowly and he's holding onto the ball too long. Quarterbacks, young and experienced quarterbacks, oftentimes are as responsible for themselves getting sacked as a breakdown in the offensive line. So he has to take some of that responsibility. 9 sacks is a ridiculous number for an NFL team to give up. And when you have a very young quarterback only starting his 4th game in his entire career against a really good defense, he made bad decisions, hung onto the ball too long, and he ate shit. And that's what happens sometimes. He'll get better. And if he doesn't, he'll be gone. Because, hey, look, the Redskins have only had 10,412 starting quarterbacks in the last 10 years. So they'll figure it out eventually. I mean, they did have a legit look. The Redskins have had legitimate long-term starting quarterbacks. The last one was Joe Theismann. So it's only been 40 years. That's it. 40
You're
years.
due. You're due.
He'll
You're
figure it out. It's
due.
only been 40 years, Chad. Give him a break. Just
Y'all
40
are due.
years.
Y'all are due. How about the Carolina Panthers having a legitimate quarterback in the red rocket rifle Andy Dalton? 34 for 58,
He had a good game.
361 yards and 2 touchdowns, dude. That's pretty nice.
Well, he had a good game. They lost, but he had a good game.
Yeah, they lost. But
But
he
they
had a
wouldn't
better
have,
game.
they wouldn't have done any better
The Rook,
with the midget. So
the midget Rook. Yeah.
the midget rookie. So
Yeah.
Bryce Young wouldn't have done any better. They
The
said that
red.
he's out because of injury, but I'm not even sure that I'm buying that, to be perfectly honest. I
Oh
think they
man,
just
you're
wanted to
you're
see what they could
being
do if they let the veteran play and the veteran
you're
played
being
much, much,
you
much, much better.
you
That's
need to
all.
you need to chill the fuck out right now. You're being a little salty.
Yeah, Bryce Young
You're a
his
little
career's
full
already
of
over. It's a
yourself.
shame.
No, it's not true.
What a waste of a draft pick.
Not true.
Him and Kyler Murray can go have lunch together in a year or two.
All right. Well,
So,
so
so the Oompa Loompa is injured apparently. We'll see if he gets back in the game here. But if you ask me, Andy Dalton played like a professional quarterback and did a really good job yesterday. But the
all right,
Seahawks are just a pretty good football team,
they are.
and
They really
Pete
are.
Carroll's a great coach.
He is.
Um,
He's the only
their
reason why.
defense isn't great, but it's good enough.
Shit
And
works.
Geno Smith, he won comeback player of the
Not
year
bad.
last year, and he's playing legitimate friggin' football, man. I
He
love
can
that
ball.
kid. I
He can
always
play.
liked him, and I think it's great that a guy who hung around the league for 8 or 9 years finally got a legitimate opportunity to start, and he's
Start.
shining, man. I think that's dope. I love it.
I am. So, what do you think about Chiefs Bears?
Well, that was such a
What do
close game. I was scared all the way to the end there. My
I was
takeaway
like,
for the Chiefs is that the Chiefs are back to being the Chiefs.
yeah,
Their complement is full. They got they got Jones re-signed, who's playing monstrously right now, and Of course, having
Yeah.
Travis Kelce back is always a benefit.
Yeah.
Ivanchenko is actually playing better football because Kelsey's back on the football field because it opens things up for him in the backfield too. So I think that's all good.
Chico. Yeah.
But the Chiefs are just a good football team. However, the Bears aren't.
Yeah, that's no major.
I like Justin Fields, but I think if the Bears don't figure out some way to protect this kid and don't get some kind of offense that helps him in any kind of way whatsoever, that he's going to end up mentally destroyed. He's never going to recover from it. We see this happen in the NFL all the time when really bad teams end up with a quarterback that has real talent, but they don't know how to instill any confidence into that player. And Justin Fields, I was hoping he would take a step up. They got a shit coaching staff and a shit offensive coordinator with a shit goddamn plan for anything to happen other than let Justin try to win the game for us all by himself. It's not working. And if Chicago wins 3 games this year, I'll be surprised. And it's a shame because the kid has all the talent in the world and we're never going to really see him ever truly be able to use it.
True story. So I guess the next question is obligatory. Do you have a position on Taylor Swift being at the Chiefs
Could
game?
give up fucking rat's ass. I don't like
That's
her.
the whole point. That's the reason why I asked.
I do
Thank you,
not
sir.
care. If I never
You
see her
answered
again,
correctly. Do you think the Chiefs will beat the Jets next week?
oh, no chance of that. The Jets with I got Zach Wilson a quarterback. I mean, what the hell?
It's
Jets are
prime time,
clearly
dude. It's prime time. Chiefs
look
against the Jets.
Zach
Sunday
Wilson.
night.
Look, if you're asking me who I'll put my money on, Pat Mahomes or Zach Wilson, 100%, man. He is
My man.
clearly the better
Same,
quarterback.
same.
Oh, yeah. It's a shame because the Jets have a lot of talent, man.
They were so
But
close.
no quarterback
so
pulled the
close.
trigger.
They were so close.
Steelers, Raiders, that came out about how I expected it to. Kenny Pickett played a pretty good football game.
Yeah.
The Eagles and the Bucks right now. The Eagles are obviously going to win. They're about 20 points ahead or so right now. Rams and the Bengals seem deadlocked in a very boring game. It's 6-3. So here's a couple of things I'd like to go over quickly.
Let's do it.
So these are little notes that I made. Zach Wilson is not an NFL quarterback. We just talked about that. The Jags offense is not clicking, and the Ravens offense has absolutely no nuance whatsoever, and they better figure that out for the both of them.
Right.
The Cowboys, this is exactly what I wrote, word for word. The Cowboys never fail to fail. Did it again yesterday. And the Dolphins are legit. Now, other than the Miami 762 yards we talked about, here's some other things. Justin Herbert completed 40 of 47 passes for 85.1%, which is the highest in the history of the NFL with 45 attempts or more. The Browns D has surrendered only 491 yards. We talked about that. It's a 24-year low. And I don't know if you know this.
Okay.
Andy Reid became the 4th winningest NFL head coach yesterday by winning, and it puts him only behind Shula, Belichick, and Hallis.
Which is rare freaking air, dude.
Oh, it's rarefied air. Absolutely. Andy Reid's the first ballot Hall of Famer. That's pretty obvious.
No doubt.
So good on him. I think Myles Garrett, just amazing. The Dolphins offense, amazing. There's just so much good stuff that's going on in the NFL. I think Denver is a team that's reeling really badly. I never expected them to be really great this year, but wow. Justin Jefferson, even though the Vikings aren't doing well, is racking up yardage like, he's a drug addict trying to get his hands on drugs. I mean, he's already got almost 500 yards catching in 3 games. And the only guy that's even in rarefied air with him or even close is Tyreek Hill. So there's just a lot of good, cool things that are happening in the NFL. I'm always interested in the weird things that happen and the strange things that stats that are available that try to give you the story inside of the story. So I'm always all about that. Um, I think that the NFL is starting to shape out, and I think the better teams are starting to rise to the top. The Chiefs, obviously, there was a statement game. I think the Bills yesterday statement game. While the teams they were playing weren't, a top notch, it's still the NFL, and like the Broncos aren't really good football team right now. But when you get smoked by 50 points, or you get
Yeah.
smoked by 31 points, I mean,
Right.
that's I mean, the Redskins got, smoked by 34 points. I mean, it's just when you get your ass raped like that,
It's bad.
the NFL, you're professional football players. You shouldn't be getting your ass beat like
Yeah.
that. And I think the cream is starting to rise to the top. One of the teams that we didn't talk about, the Lions, after stumbling in week 2, they put their shit together against the Falcons. I think they're still a good football team. So I think the teams that in our preview to the season, the teams that we expected to be really good, with the exception currently of the Bengals, it seems that most of those teams are starting to be the teams that we thought they were going to be.
You're not wrong. I'll ask you this. So currently the Eagles are beating the Buccaneers 25-3. The Bucks have won a couple games, and you know, Baker looked like he might be able to do something, but is this the end of it?
I think that Baker Mayfield is always just going to be who he is. Baker Mayfield wishes he was Brett Favre. And he
Yeah.
plays with that kind of reckless abandon. And he's the guy who runs down the field to high five his guys when they
Mm-hmm.
score. And he's that guy. And I think they like him in the
Ram,
locker room.
ram his head into them.
But the problem is he doesn't have Brett Favre's talent.
Nope.
And so he plays the gunslinger, but he doesn't have a strong enough arm to
He doesn't
actually
have the
be that
gun.
gunslinger.
Yeah, you
Or
gotta have the
maybe
gun.
not even necessarily the arm. He's got a pretty decent, better than average arm.
Sure.
Just Brett Favre can shove a football through a hole this big between 3 defenders and his wide receiver because he's that good. Baker attempts to do that all the time, and it doesn't work because he's not that guy. And I think the first couple of weeks he was doing that and was kind of working. And I think right now he's playing the Eagles defense. He's playing a legitimate top 5 NFL defense. And now he's finding out that while against lower teams he can play a little better. This is the Eagles, baby. You're playing the best team in the NFC, the conference that you're in, and they're ass raping you right now. It's 25-3, and they're probably coasting at this point. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I would imagine offensively the numbers are probably pretty ugly.
It's insane. And the Rams and Bengals are still 6-6. So
Right. And now the Bengals better get something going the hell on here because if they lose this game, they'll be 0-3.
no doubt.
And Burrow is playing on a half a leg, right? He's not 100%.
Right.
So, and I think Stafford has been playing extremely well, and I don't even think the Rams are all that good necessarily. I think Stafford's just been playing out of his damn mind.
He has been, and they have some young receivers that are really showing out. But since we're at 43 and change, do you want to get busy on predicting next week?
Got him right here in front of me, game by game, bro.
Let's rock and roll, dog.
All right. So the first game up we got is the Lions and the Packers, which I think is very interesting.
It is super interesting. I actually can't wait to see this one.
It's in Lambeau Field.
Yeah. Man, I'm going to go with the Lions. And it's not only because I think the Lions are more talented, it's because I really want the Lions to win in Lambeau. I think it's like 28-24.
I'm also going with the Lions, and the reason I'm going with the Lions is not only is golf playing really good right now, and the offense seems to be clicking very well, but Aiden Hutchinson is playing out of his goddamn mind,
No doubt.
and I think that they're going to put a lot of pressure. And I don't think that. Look, I know that everybody loves Love, but I don't. I think he's probably Jordan Love's probably a wonderful human being.
Yep.
But his stats just aren't saying this is more a matter of it's as much part luck as it is utility to me. And I mean, Derek Carr going down when you're getting your ass beat, you're down by 17 points, and then the starting quarterback goes down, and then you get an opportunity because Winston just screwed the pooch. The Saints should have won that game easily. So yeah, I'm going with the Lions too because I just think they're the better football team. Falcons and the Jags. I want to go with the Jags. I think the Jags are the better football team, and they have got to get this ship right. They are at home. They need this. They have to get this win to get back to 500 and get their shit straightened out. If they lose to the Falcons, things are going to get really bad in Jacksonville. They have got to get this win, and I think they will.
I actually hope you're right, but they've proven me wrong enough that I'm actually going to bet against the Jags until proven otherwise. Falcons win.
Good, because this way I'll be able to. That's a loss you'll have. I'll count that as a loss for you.
There you go.
Rams versus Colts. Well, I don't care if the Rams win this game tonight or not. They're going to be playing in Indianapolis. I think the Colts are very well coached, and I get very well game planned, and I think that they're playing above their heads. And I don't think they're as good as the Rams are, and I think the Rams will win that game.
I also agree. Rams win.
Next, we got the Ravens and the Browns. This is a game that both of these teams have to have. It's a divisional game. These teams hate each other's guts. Are in the same conference. They switch cities. The whole thing that's been with this whole thing, and the only team they hate more than each other is probably Pittsburgh. I'm going with the Browns because they're at home and their defense is playing out of their minds. And as we talked about earlier, the Ravens offense is so vanilla. You're going to play a defense that is right now playing probably the best in the NFL, and you're going to bring them that vanilla offense that's not doing anything for you. I don't see how that works.
I want to go Ravens, but yeah, I'm going Browns too, man, because I don't believe in the Browns that much. As far as the offense is concerned at this point, although they do seem like they're on the up, finally, but that defense is deadly, and I have no faith in the Ravens right now. They've just been, like you said, vanilla is a pretty good word.
Yeah.
What do you think about Vikings Panthers?
The Vikings. Yikes! The Vikings are playing. I'm going with the Vikings because the Panthers are just that bad. That's all.
Yeah.
If you're telling me, look, I don't think Kirk Cousins is a top 5 quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a whole lot better than Andy Dalton, who is a whole lot better than Bryce Young. I think the Vikings are just a better football team, and Justin Jefferson's playing out of his goddamn mind. So I'm going with the Vikes.
Yeah, I can't disagree. At this point, the Panthers they're so wishy-washy. Who's even going to be the quarterback?
Right, and nobody expected them to be good this year, and
Nope.
they're not. They're not. They don't have any playmakers. They're rebuilding. Not that they were ever built to begin with, but they're just down, and so they got a long way to go yet.
Yep.
Bengals versus the Titans. I don't care what the Bengals do tonight. They lose it. I'm taking the Bengals. If they lose to the Titans next week, they might as well just call it a year. just give up because the Titans aren't that good a football team. Hell, on the Browns last week, they couldn't even get 100 yards of offense. So if the Bengals cannot lose to the Titans, I'm going with them because they're just the better team.
God, this is so tough for me. I'm gonna go with the Bengals as well. The Titans are such trash.
Tannehill couldn't get anything going at all yesterday, and Henry, I think, ran like 12 times for 24 yards or something. It was embarrassing.
It's not working. The O line is not
Yeah,
working.
well, the Titans are on the downhill swing, and yeah, they're just no. Bucks and the
Yep,
Saints.
Buck Saints. Who you got?
I think that I think I'm going to go with the Bucks, and the reason is because Derek Carr's hurt, and he's not going to be back for a while, and it's going to be on Jameson Winston. And I have more faith in Baker Mayfield than I do Jameson Winston. And I think that the Bucks defense is better than the Saints.
Well, I'm going with crab legs, Jameis Winston for the win. The Saints over the Bucks. Give me the Saints. So
Now,
Dolphins Bills.
this
No, go ahead.
really, this is the game I want to see next week.
Woo! Fireworks.
Fins and the Bills. This is, and it's at Buffalo. So we're going to be bringing a bunch of guys from 90-degree heat up to Buffalo to 80-degree heat, or 70s, I guess now, which probably actually helped them.
It won't be a problem.
I'm going to go with the Bills because they're at home, because this is a gimme game, and when it's a gimme game like that, I have a tendency to just roll with the home team. Both of these offenses are clicking right now. Both of them are on fire. Both quarterbacks are playing great. Both their running games and their receiving games are doing great. I think the Finns numbers are better, but I mean, why wouldn't they be after putting up 762 yards yesterday? So,
Right.
but other than that, I mean, I think they're very evenly matched, but I'm just going to go with the home team on this one.
I, sir, am going with the Dolphins. So we're going to differ there. Let's go to the Broncos and Bears.
Wow, it's like, who is the shittiest
What a shit
team
show.
here? What a shit show this is. I think Broncos are going to win this, and mostly it's because, not for any other reason than the Broncos, to me, get rid of that 70-point loss yesterday, and never would have thought, even if they were still 0-3, that they would lose to the Bears. The Bears are just god awful. They got nothing going on, less than nothing going on. I know they're at home, but I just think the Broncos are a better football team. Even as bad as they are, still better than the Bears.
Well, this gives us another opportunity to differ. I'm gonna take the Bears this time, dude.
All right.
I actually think the Bears are gonna beat the Broncos. So Commanders versus Eagles. You're taking the Commanders, aren't you?
Absolutely taking the Eagles.
Eagle Commanders.
Eagles defense is even better than the Bills defense, and the Bills defense ran roughshod all over them. Sam Howell he's refusing to sleep because he doesn't want to have nightmares about the Bills defense, and the Eagles defense is better. So I just think there's no chance that the Washington football team, they're not going to beat the Eagles. No way.
Can I?
Yeah, Chad.
Eagles.
EGLSSEL Eagles. Oh, Leah Philly. Steelers Texans. Yeah, Steelers are just a better football team. I do think that Stroud will continue to play well. He doesn't have enough support or help. And that's the problem for him. Kenny Pickett is playing pretty good football right now, but the Steelers are just a better football team.
Yep. I like the Steelers too.
Raiders, Chargers. I got the Chargers. The Raiders are not playing well. And ironically, not only are they not playing well, but Jimmy G is playing like dog shit. Like, he's usually the guy that you can count on when he's healthy. He's not playing very well.
Yep.
His performance yesterday with a couple of interceptions, bunch of sacks, bad reads down the field. He looked like shit. And I don't Herbert is playing out of his mind, good football right now. And I think the Chargers are turning the corner. I think, they got off to a bad start, but I think the Chargers they looked really, really good yesterday. And I think that's going to continue on offense.
Completely agreed. Totally in on the Chargers. But here's my question for you. Do the Niners stand a chance against the Cardinals?
Clearly not. The Cardinals are a juggernaut after their beatdown of the Dallas Cowboys.
Clearly.
So you know what? It's going to be my upset of the week. I'm going with the 49ers here. Because,
Same.
well, first off, I'm going with the 49ers because I know the name of their quarterback. All right. That's number one. I think the Cardinals quarterback is who? Because who the fuck is he? J.K. Dobbs. J.K. Dobbs outplayed Dak Prescott. Hey, Dallas fans, Dak Prescott sucks balls. And when are you going to just get used to it? Just get used to it. So obviously the 49ers, the Cardinals are going to go back to being the Cardinals next week. The Niners are just playing really good football straight out of the gate.
Insane.
I still want to see Brock Purdy make that throw that matters when the game's on the line. He's just never had to do it. But I will say what I've been saying about him since last year. He may be one of the top 5 smartest quarterbacks in the NFL because he rarely makes a mistake because he understands what's happening on the football field everywhere.
True
and he doesn't
story.
put himself in a bad position. And sometimes just simply not making mistakes is good enough. I think he's marching towards being a much better and better quarterback, but I still want to see that 49ers playing the Seattle Seahawks for first place in the NFC West. And in the fourth quarter, under a minute to go or under 2 minutes to go, and he hits that dime throw in double coverage in the corner of the end zone and brings home a 49ers win, then I'll be 100% sold on him.
Fair enough. Do you think Mac Jones can do that? Do you think that what do you feel about the Patriots and the Cowboys?
I think that if any guy can scheme and make Dak Prescott look even worse than he did last week, it's Bill Belichick.
True.
Who is a master at doing that kind of stuff. Dallas is clearly the better football team. But I'm going to go, my upset of the week is the Patriots over the Cowboys.
No kidding. Pats.
I'm taking the Pats. They've been in every game. Nobody's blowing them out. And Dallas is one of those teams. They're like the pretty good. They think they're the best looking girl in school, but they didn't get homecoming queen. And then they're going to go pout for a while.
I'm actually 1000% with you. I do absolutely think that Bill Belichick will beat the fake ass Cowboys.
Yeah, it's Cowboys are just what the Cowboys are.
The
Chiefs
facts.
and the Jets. I think the Chiefs go up 49-0 and then coast to a 49-3 win. This is a gimme game here.
Yeah, Chiefs win.
I
so
mean,
what do you got? Yeah, Chiefs
impossible
win
that they could lose that game to me.
And, so what do you got? Seahawks, Giants.
Seahawks all the way. The Giants are just playing bad football right now.
Yeah.
Danny Dimes isn't the guy. He plays good and he plays bad. He's just not a top NFL quarterback. I think Brian Daboll and some of the things he was doing last year caught a lot of people off guard. And remember, they played a last place schedule last year. They made the playoffs that year, and now they're playing a tough schedule, and it's running hard on them. And they're not able to keep up. They're just not good enough right now. And the Seahawks are playing really good football. Never bet against Pete Carroll. The Seahawks are going to the playoffs this year. And Geno Smith's playing great. How do you go against the Hawks right now? They're playing really well.
I totally agree. Yep, Hawks, dude, 1000%.
So that's mine for next week. The Eagles got this game, so that makes us at the minimum 11-4, worst 11-5, and again we smoke the paid prognosticators of football, and we smoke them again. I don't know why it's so hard for these guys to figure out who's going to win these games. I will say it's harder if you're playing the spread, but most of them aren't playing the spread. The guys on ESP's roundtable and all that kind of stuff when they're talking, when they're picking games, Bleacher Report and all that kind of stuff, and nobody's talking about and all over the podcasts. Nobody's talking about point spreads. They're just picking games straight like we're doing. And then most of them are lucky if they get half and half.
Right on, man. So we're right at an hour.
So we will have to wrap this up. We will see everybody next week. NFL is exciting and fun, and it has been very entertaining so far. I imagine it will keep on keeping on. I'd also like to give a shout out to Penn State Nittany Lions, who are now ranked 6th in the country and who smoked another team, a Big Ten team again over the weekend. So good on them. And like, subscribe, hit the button, give us your questions, give it to us. Tell us how stupid we are, how wrong we are, and we'd love to debunk you because that's clearly untrue because we're hardly ever wrong. So I and Chad thank everybody for showing up. We will see you next week. Until then,
peace out.
out.
Later.